So today on Project Shop, we are going to finish pulling the copper out of all these stators and cut the ones that need to be cut. I'm going to round up all the motors that I can find that need to be cut or that we're gonna cut, and the rest of them we'll just sell off as motors. Last night we had some issues with this thing running super slow. It was really low in fluid. I think it was just cold, so I'm hoping today, with being a little warmer out, and then once I get a couple things going through here, that it'll actually pick up a little speed. I was wanting to put that pump on this one to run it faster, but the problem is I need to flush that oil. It looked a little funny. Yeah, it's definitely got moisture in there, so that needs to be drained. I don't know if I have enough oil. I gotta see. I think I found a 5-gallon bucket last night when I was looking around. What I could do is pump the cylinder all the way one way, hook the other thing to it, pump it back, you know, let it bleed out the back end, push all the fluid out, and then hook that to it. The only problem is I have to, it's just that thing there is not a foot pedal, so it's got to be, I don't know, we'll see. But last night we did a good bit out of that one thing. 180 something, 188 I think dollars worth of copper out of one stator, so that's good. So we ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna get right on removing this thing out of here. Actually, I gotta go get my proper clip for this, so I'm gonna drop my camera again. I scratched my lens. I got a new media mod. I don't want to bang it up and ruin the mic. She might be slow, but she's got some power. It probably evens out because I'm pulling multiple ones at once. It evens out compared to like trying to knock one out at a time with how slow this is. But once we figure out our hydraulic system, and I have a pump over there, it's 3-phase. I'm going to try to hook it to my 3-phase converter. And I just need to get a valve block for it, and we might be in business, or at least a start. Yeah, it's like watching paint dry, man. And I can feel the tension here. It's pulling hard. It's not even pulling that hard because it's not even registering on the scale that much, or the pressure gauge over there. All right. Okay, so as you can see, we are back in business. This is a really oddball one with these big chunks of metal. But Stator Wrecker's doing its thing. Oh yeah. Like I said, it might be a little slow, but we're pulling multiple ones. We got about a quarter of that in one shot. Now when we get over to these ones that I cut with the AC compressor ones, these ones come out so easy. Better grip. Oh yeah. Pulled like 6 of them out. Now the other side. Huh, other than this one, basically got that whole thing in two poles. Alright, it is picking up speed compared to last night. I think it was just cold. Once I get that thing warmed up, it'll speed up just a little bit more. We don't have that many to do, but we got enough. And we'll get them knocked out. I might have to drop this down. I don't know if I'll have enough stroke for these. I think this thing's only got like a 7.5 inch stroke or 7 inch stroke. We really need something with like 12 inches of stroke, because these are 6 inches on center, and if we could, you know, have more, but 10,000 psi 100-ton cylinders are not cheap, and we don't necessarily need 100 tons for this, but for the other application that I haven't even set this up to do yet, 100 tons is going to come in handy, and hopefully we'll be getting to that soon. I'll show you. And that has to do with that other blade and this cylinder, which I'm going to have to either buy a new one or just go ahead and replace that seal. Yeah. If I could get 2 of those cylinders on the side of this, that would be great. Anyway, it's a work in progress. I'm going to time lapse the rest of this. I'll come back when we're about to cut some of these other ones with the grinder. I did find a new blade, and we're just going to keep pulling copper. Okay, we got a nice little chunk in the bucket. Now it took me, a couple minutes there and we got some prepared there. It took me a couple minutes to get kind of dialed back in, and then I brought over my chair and just went to work. Once you're dialed in and you're doing it, it actually went really fast. Even with the slow hydraulics, I believe it's better than trying to knock out or hand pull some of this stuff, because it just, once you grab it, it's pulling it out, some of them were a little hard. We are going to have to work on them. I'll have to put the vise back up here, but I'm also going to be cutting some transformers today, stuff like this. This one here is like a I and E. We just cut the weld or hit it with a hammer. I like to just put a little cut on it. But I'm going to try something out that I've been wanting to try out that I haven't, had a chance to. So I have a bunch of magnetic vices, okay? And I've always wanted a magnetic vise for transformers, for cutting these welds. So what I can do is basically, that's glue. What I can do is basically set a whole bunch up here where they need to be cut. Because if you ever try cutting with transformers, you got to hold it with one hand. It's easier if you can hold your thing with two hands and put some pressure on it. And bam. Now this thing here is going to move around, but I'd like to know, I guess you would put toe clamps right there on the mill. This is for a milling machine, but if I put it there, this is heavy enough. It's heavier than one transformer. You can put one transformer on the table and cut it. If you just apply the right amount of pressure, it'll stay there. These bigger ones, not so much this one, but this. See, I don't know if this vise is just dirty and the rust is stopping the magnet, or it's old. It did have an X on it, so maybe it's no good. I don't know. But for what I'm doing, I'm going to clean this up and see if this is going to work any better. I have another one over here. Let's see if this one is attached. I don't know if this is electromagnetic or just magnetic. And this one's probably broke it down in some for my lawnmower. About the same size vise. I don't know if interesting to see how they bulk. Yeah, they got clamps on the side. I'd like to pull this out and actually see if that's stronger. I have two really big ones, but they're electromagnet, which would be really cool. But they I don't have the controllers for them right now. I thought they would pull harder than that. That's pretty good. You know what? It's better. It's actually better than nothing. Oh, we got a piece of plastic under it. And the welds are holding it off of it. So this thing is mainly for, like, you got a flat piece of steel. I had one of these blades on here, which I'm gonna talk about here in a second, and it held them down really nice. Now the next thing, I'm actually going to take, where'd it go, this worn out flappy disc, and I'm going to clean this up. Maybe it'll grab a little bit better. And then I wanted to tell you about these blades. This came in a 2-pack, 26 bucks at clearance at Tractor Supply. Always, if you ever go to Tractor Supply, always go check their clearance section. I got these on clearance. Now this one here is for wood, plastic, wood with nails, plaster. So this will cut a little bit of metal. I'm not going to really run this for all the metal I have today because I'll tell you why. When I used to cut concrete, our diamond blades were slightly different. I actually have some around here, and I'll show you one day when I find it. So the way these are designed, and I was kind of shocked because it looks like there's a segment on there. That's what we used to call them. Okay, it's hard to tell in the video, but that's just straight up the blade. Okay, and what they've done is they literally just use some type of glue or some type of adhesive to glue the diamonds. I don't know what they did. Maybe they got the matrix to bond right to the metal, so you have a little on the side and just a very, very little on the top. So when you knock the diamonds off of the top here, it's not going to cut no more. I mean, I could probably still use this blade sideways and maybe as a, I don't even know. It's pretty, to me it's shot, you know. And how we used to check our, because we used to spin big blades, and if you didn't have side clearance, you couldn't get your full penetration, you know, because we would step cut. We'd start with a 20 or 24, depending, 20, 24, then go up to a 30, 36, 42, 54, 62, 60s, 72s, 84s, and then 92s, depending on what we were cutting. And we had multiple saws. Like a regular slab saw would cut up to a 36. Then we had a deep cut, which would cut up to, I believe, a 72. And then we had a super deep cut for the 84 and 92 inch blades. Not hardly, I don't even think any other company had those blades, because we had them custom made from quarry cutting blades. Anyway, our blades were a blank, and then the segments were like laser welded on there. So you'd have a segment, you know, it was tall and thicker than the steel blade. So you could wear that down all the way and keep going. This here, once you knock off that top little layer, like, you can almost see there's not much difference in how high this is and how high that is, but this is done. Like, there's nothing left on top of there, which is, in my opinion, stupid. But I will say, I've used the crap out of that blade there. That blade cut, man. I was very impressed. Now, I haven't used this one yet. but the diamonds feel really aggressive. So this thing here gonna cut like butter through some plastic and wood and plaster. I'm gonna save this. I think I got 2 of them. I'm gonna save this for something else today. I will be using a combination of this and then just some regular ones. Also, I wanted to tell you, these blades are not cheap, okay? Even at like Harbor Freight, the best deals that I find on these is at Tractor Supply. They'll have packs of these, packs of the thick grinding discs, and packs of the cutoffs for very cheap. Like literally a 20 pack of these, I think for like 11 bucks or something so ridiculously cheap. Every time I go, I buy like 2 packs, you know, just because I use a lot of them. And you know, you go to Home Depot and buy those Diablo ones, which are really nice, but dude, they're like very expensive. I mean, you're gonna pay, I forget what it was, but last time I was at Home Depot, I was like, you know, I put them back. I'm like, I'll go to Harbor Freight or Tractor Supply before I buy these 4.5-inch cutoffs from Home Depot. Or even the ones from Harbor Freight are okay. I mean, they cut, but the Diablo ones obviously are a little better. But anyway, the way I use them and what I get out of them, I just think that Tractor Supply has a good deal on these. So I just want to kind of pass that on to you. And always go look at their clearance section, because they always got something cool in there. These were good. This was a good find for me. So I'm gonna put that on to cut some, if I gotta cut some of the coils on these transformers, or I might just set the splitter back up, you know, that way I'm not wearing out my blade. But we're gonna try out this today. I am gonna prep a bunch of these for the second press, clean up whatever. I'm gonna round up all the transformers that need to be cut, and yeah, we're gonna pull some copper. So let me get set up on this. I'm gonna clean this off, and we're just gonna continue filling the bucket with some copper. So, being that I know magnets are kind of brittle, I'm not going to be beating on this table with these here. I'll slide them over to the other table and we'll do it all over there. I'm just going to make sure I get good cuts on it. Yeah, so it actually worked really nice. I like the fact that I could just set a couple on here. I wish it held a little harder. I mean, I can maneuver that around a little bit. The smaller ones, I mean, that's really tough. And I tried to not sit in one spot or take too much off, just to rush. The guy did tell me that I could literally take, you know, like a fly cutter and just mill that straight. And I don't know if like that thickness there is like how much you can take off. There's bolts underneath this thing. I would actually like to take this apart one day and see what's underneath. But for now, it's working pretty good. We're just going to keep on cutting with it. Try to keep all my things to one side here. That's interesting. That needs a little bit of prep. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting this on its own little table or something I can beat on this table with. I don't want to be beating and cracking the magnets that are in here. But I like this. I like it a lot. Oh, check this out. This is all copper. It was a fancy light. And I'll cut that cord out of there and send that with the number 2 copper. Trying to think if I want to cut this one to go through the machine, but I've removed the pump over here. The other ones I'm going to need to bring my regular vise over here for. And we're going to have to use, that's where we're going to use this blade here, or this blade, is to cut the actual copper coils. What?
Behind you. Can you take a break for a moment?
Okay, so I'm actually regretting not cutting this in half, because the one I did cut in half, maybe not that style, but it literally just fell apart on the table. And I don't know what happened here. It would have been easier, in my opinion, to pull this out by splitting it. I mean, eventually we'll be splitting all this stuff, but I could set this stuff up and kind of knock it out. I did put a little cardboard box up here to try to catch some of the stuff. I'm trying to get it to sling that way. We're catching most of it right here on the table. We'll sweep all that dust up. I'm even gonna cut some of those ballasts probably. I think I went through one of them and it was 50-50. Usually if it's got half copper in it, I process it. I don't know, with the price of copper, man, we want all the nuggets. So we'll process this stuff down the best we can. We'll cut these open. This is actually stainless steel. Some of these containers are actually stainless. Yep, that's stainless. So that's got a nice little transformer. That thing there should fall right apart. Like I said, what I think I'm going to do is build two presses right next to each other. One with that blade and one with a much bigger blade. I just came up with a great idea. It's going to save space if I can implement it. Interesting. Yeah, I think that it just came to me, and that actually is going to I wonder if that's even possible. We'll have to figure it out. I'll have to think on that, but I just had a cool idea about running two blades. So anyway, everything seems to be working good. I'm going to eventually probably clamp the vise down to the table so I can, you know, put some pressure on it. And then this plastic is just like melting. Yeah, these ones are going to be a little tedious. I gotta get something to drive them down. But we're just going to keep at it, man, and keep pulling the copper. Okay, guys, it's actually the next day, and we're about to put the forklift to use for the first time. I wind up doing what I can, and then it was getting late, and the mosquitoes came out with a vengeance yesterday. We got Dakota here today, and we're about to have a stripping party. So I went and picked up some stuff from a customer, and I got some free rims. That's always nice, free scrap. And then we got some copper nuggets. Now, unfortunately, they started the stripping party before I got there. And I mean, they do have a wire stripping machine. They like to strip their wire because they share it among all the employees. So the employees will kind of pull together, and you know, that's cool. Unfortunately, they stripped all the big stuff, which is okay. I'll still make a little bit of money. And copper's way up. I got quoted at $3.35 or $4.35 a pound today. Got the others, got a full set of rims. I don't know if anyone wants some BMW rims, but you know, we're gonna put the saws all to them and be done with it. So yeah, stay tuned for that video, because we're gonna wrap this one up. We're clearing out space so I can back in and use the forklift. So we'll see how that goes for the first time, but you'll have to see that in the next video. I'll tell you where we're going. Right to the scrap yard.
Watch it. Look, it's dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?